Hi guys, and welcome back to another JDZ Podcast. So today we're actually going to be talking about, COVID-19, coronavirus. We're chatting about how it's kind of changed our lives. We're just having a general chat about the weirdness and the weird world that we now live in. And I think it's all taken us all it's shocked us, hasn't it, really, I think. We're how many weeks now? 6, 7 weeks in, I think it is. Something really scary, like the amount of time that's actually been. It's just been a very strange time. I don't think we expected any of this to actually have happened, like, ever. You know, like typical naive kind of people going, in this day and age.
You see it in movies, but you don't see it for real life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, as normal, I am joined by Zyridius. Also joined by Jesterwish. If you guys aren't already subscribed to those two, go into the description right now, click on their links, and go and subscribe. And you can also see this video on their channels. So, nice and easy.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. That's true, yeah. As long as there's no editing problems or anything like that.
Oh, don't get me started. What are we, 3 minutes into a podcast and an hour and a half into actually trying to record this?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the amount of work that goes in the background to just getting video capture to work with this is...
like pointing no fingers.
Yeah, point no fingers.
Me and Jester have clipped off your fingers.
Right. We've been fine.
So I'm gonna kick it off with this by the simplest things. When people go to the supermarket, Aldi's, for example, they offer hand sanitizer by cleaning products outside on a stand with paper towel. Now, people are wearing gloves and people are not wearing anything, but people use that to wipe their trolleys down. The thing is, everyone's using their plain hands to touch the bottle to spray. So no one's got anything set in place. Like you work in the NHS, Stacker. Like, what are your thoughts on that, man? Like, seriously.
Yeah, it's not that bad. So it won't be that bad as long as the spray is good spray. You know, if it's just like crap anti-bac type stuff that isn't or isn't high alcohol level or anything like that, if it's one of those, it's absolutely fine. So with the stuff that when we get food delivered, because we're doing food deliveries, we'll talk about that in a bit, but I actually spray a cloth with anti-bac. My hands, because I've just touched, hopefully you can see the hands, or just my fingers, pretty much my hands, as soon as I pick up that item, it's infected, you know, or could be infected, let's say, but then I'm spraying a cloth with it. So then that cloth has got the stuff on it, and then I'm cleaning the stuff with that cloth. So you kind of get the anti-bac on your hands anyway. So it's pretty low risk. It's never going to be perfect, but yeah, it's one of those things like how can you disinfect the stuff that you're using to disinfect?
Yeah.
And it's really difficult. So you know, if you've got stuff on it, you can just spray it on your hands probably. As long as it's not like bleach or anything like that.
Yeah. Because what I'm seeing is, like, when they got the spray bottles, right? I'm just going to use my controller here. Right, there's the spray bottle, right? The content is in the bottle, but a normal person off the street comes in, picks up the bottle, sprays the trolley, sprays their hands, puts the bottle back.
Yep.
But no one's actually cleaning the bottle. So the next person comes along, picks up the bottle. So they're all trying to do the things with cleaning trolleys and all that stuff, but they're all putting their hands on that same bottle. Now, I tried mentioning that to the guy, and it wasn't computing. It wasn't connecting. And I don't think that connects with a lot of people out there, that they're triple handling, quadruple handling the same item or product, but they're all wearing gloves and stuff, and the contamination goes through gloves and whatnot. What's the goal with all that?
Yeah, so this is a problem. If you're ever in a healthcare setting, it's like wash your hands after everything, before you touch a patient, before you touch anything around the patient, and then afterwards as well. Obviously, you can't do that while you're out. There's no, you can't go to a supermarket. What you should be able to do is wash your hands beforehand, and then come out, and you should be able to nudge it with your elbow. That's the idea, that you can actually nudge, usually taps with your elbow. That's why you see it a lot in TV programs and movies and all that kind of jazz. Of course, there's no reason why your elbow can't be infected, and then you've just touched that that thing and now you've infected the sink with that. That can happen, but it's pretty low risk.
Yeah.
You won't ever have a perfect world, but doing something is better than doing nothing.
Yeah.
Because you can imagine how bad that is. So one of the things that like you're talking about the stupidity of people, because there are some people that are kind of following rules but not really.
Yeah.
So I went into co-op not too long ago, and there were people with masks, but they only had their masks on when there were people near them. So you could see them. They were going there. They were then putting the mask on, doing that, looking at you, like staring at you, like they were terrified of people. But they're like, you've just touched your mask.
Yeah.
That mask is now void, effectively. Just if you had anything, because they're going around just touching things, picking up items that they need, and then because they've seen a person in the same shop, they've panicked and then put their hands on their mask to put their mask up, thinking that that's going to protect them.
Yeah.
Whereas really, masks are actually going the other way and actually protecting more people because it's blocking coughs and
exactly.
things like that. So it's there are people that aren't really thinking this through, but it's a safety net. So people are thinking, God, I need to do something. And I'm not saying that these things don't work. It's just that people don't really think things through. So with masks, you've got to be really careful with putting them on. My other half, who's a nurse, she has to be very, very careful with obviously putting them on and making sure that you don't touch them afterwards, because as soon as you do, that's it. It's not really going to work that well if you do. But there are people that kind of like out and about doing that stuff. So anyway, onto the supermarkets. How are you guys finding how they're populated these days?
I think it all depends on the supermarket. Like, I'm finding some that are doing it really well and others that aren't, like, at all. Mainly, like, once you get inside the supermarkets, I think it's fine. It's the lines outside that worry me. It feels like the minute you walk through those doors, or the people that are running them walk through those doors, they kind of forget everything they've been told. And like you just said, that there's nothing worse than kind of like an educated fool, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, you go back to the idea that gloves are a must, when in actual fact gloves may be doing more harm than good. Because the minute people put those gloves on, they think, I'm fine. It doesn't matter. Yep. I can touch whatever I want. It doesn't matter, when you're probably better off washing your hands, going in, doing your shop, coming out, washing your hands, like you said.
Yep, absolutely.
And these lines outside, I saw one the other day, and it was just in a snake pattern. That you had the 2 meter rule in front and behind you, but nothing side to side.
Yeah.
The thought was there, but there was nothing to weigh in on it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And there's always one. Well, there's not just one person. There's always a couple people that are, pushing the line, always pushing the line, like.
Yeah.
And have you had that yet, where you've had to have a chat with somebody and just go, look, can you keep 2 meters distant?
Mm-hmm.
And then they're just like, what? No, I'm close. I ain't got it.
Yeah, that's the one.
And then they start to get really defensive. Like, I haven't got it. I'm not infected. And then they start to get a bit shifty, and you're like, it doesn't matter if you're. What happens if I'm infected? Do you know what I mean? You're the one that's fucking edging closer, and you're not going to get in the store any quicker. No. It's 1 in, 1 out. Just because you're edging into like 1 meter, 1 meter and a half, or whatever it is, that's not going to make anything better.
Yeah, and that's the bit that's getting me as well. It's I haven't got it. How do you know you haven't got it? You could have it and not have any symptoms at all.
Exactly, yeah.
You have no idea. Yeah. No idea.
I have to laugh now when you go out anywhere and someone goes like that. Everyone's like instantly turning.
Yeah.
Like, they've got it. It's like, no, they either are smoking a cigarette, or they're coming off a cold, or, they just swallowed a bug or something like that. Oh, they got it. Keep away.
Yeah, I know. It's really weird though, but it's human behaviour side of it is really strange.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people have got used to it, and a lot of people are kind of accepting of it and are quite reasonable.
Yeah.
Other people aren't. So I was in local spa shop, and they've got you put your items down behind a plastic shields they've put up now.
Yeah.
And then you step back. And they've put lines on the floor and everything like that, but they've got 2 tills, and you have to walk where they've put the line is exactly where you have to walk to get to the second till. So it's like, so I stepped back, and then this woman was like, "Oh, got to get past, got to get to the till." I was like, "Right, where the hell do I step now?"
Yeah.
And there's nowhere to go, so it's just like, there's so many of these half-assed attempts.
Yeah, and it's not just that. These shops weren't built to have 2 meters around customers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're built the smallest footprint to get as many people in and as many items on the shelves. They're not built for that kind of distance and measures. So, you know, in all fairness, from someone who runs commercial stores, like it's difficult to do it.
Yeah.
Luckily, like my store shut down before this all went. We went into like crucial lockdown, but I can't even imagine how I'd be dealing with it right now. Not a clue.
Yeah, it must be really weird. It must be so weird. So I've seen. I think that it's got to be quite difficult. So we've obviously got key workers, you know, people that are in the NHS or carers. They've got, you know, PPE, but then you've got all the shop workers that don't.
Yes.
And we hear about, you know, bus drivers that were in London that loads of them, quite a few of them, I'm not saying loads of them, quite a few of them have died from this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, well, shit. You know, you don't think about that. You don't think about the average Joe, but there is quite a few average Joes out there that are putting themselves into the line of danger, really, just to be able to, you know, keep us fed and all that. It's only a small thing keeping us fed.
Yeah, it is, and I think the loss of life is something that shouldn't be like undermined, depending on where they work, whether it's NHS or driving a bus or, you know, crossing woman. It doesn't really matter. It's all something, isn't it? You know.
It is, yeah.
Unfortunately, like I've got quite a few friends who work for the NHS and the nurses and all that kind of stuff, and they've all said we'll all know someone. We'll all know of someone who's died of this. All of us. Yeah. Which is a scary thought when you think about it. It's a really scary thought.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I got a cousin. She works in like nursing homes and stuff, and I just happened to be visiting my mother-in-law. Social distancing. Everyone who's wondering, social distancing. And my auntie just happened to be walking up the shop, and she said, "Oh, you know, hi, how you doing?" I said, "Yeah, not bad." She said, "Oh, did you hear the news?" I said, "No. What news?" Your cousin has got it. Couldn't get tested, has been tested now, but couldn't get tested, had the cough, had the fever and stuff like that, can't come home. She's like stuck there, can't come home. So yeah, when they say that somebody, you know, somebody who's got it some point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I found out my cousin had it or got it.
Yeah.
I haven't spoken to my aunt, you know, or anything like that to see how she's doing or anything yet. But yeah, she's got it. She can't come home. It is scary. It is scary.
Oh, it is. We're all in this really weird, we don't know if you've got it or not kind of thing. Because unless you test it, you don't know, do you? And that's the problem. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I've become so freaking paranoid. I don't know about anyone else. Like I take this seriously. I mean, obviously, I have to go out and do some grocery shopping and there's only one person allowed in the supermarket, which I'll get into that in a sec. But it's got me paranoid. Like, I don't even like going out to the front door to the actual hedge, you know? I don't like going anywhere. And it's getting to the point now where you start becoming a recluse.
Yeah.
And that agoraphobia starts jumping in. Because you don't know, as Jester said, you don't know who's got it. I could have it. You know, you just can't tell.
Yeah.
This day and age, and we're still waiting for all these tests. And being in Britain and stuff like that is one of the highest in the world of things.
Second
in the world. And it is scary. And I personally have paranoia about it. You know, I take my hat off to the people that have to go out to work. You know, the food services, the delivery drivers, the NHS and stuff like that. You know, I'm just blessed that I'm one of the lucky ones that I've been contained to stay home. You know, but I can't thank the people that are still working and supplying people with everything. I can't thank them enough, because without them, we're all fucked pretty much. You know, so yeah, hats off everyone. You know, well done.
And I find this really weird, like talking about postal services and stuff like that. You have it in the back of your mind that I don't want to order anything online. I'm sitting in the house. I'm not doing anything. I could be shopping my life away on Amazon right now. I don't want to do it because I don't want the interaction. Or we'll talk about it probably later, the whole idea of postal services and letters and stuff like that coming through the door. We don't know how long it lives on those type of things. So my mail is just piling up outside my door.
That's actually the smartest thing to do, is to quarantine it for, if you can quarantine it for a week, awesome. Because more than likely it will not live more than a week on a surface, especially if it's a ventilated surface. So if you put it into like a it's the same with anything, any like respiratory virus. You know, it will spread quite easily in a enclosed space because if you think about it, if the wind blows, it then disperses it, so then you've got a lot less of those molecules per, say, meter squared. So it kind of works probably the same way as if you've got it on a surface, say a letter or something like that. So if you have it in like the windowsill where you've got a window open and you just never touch it, perfect, then give it a week. We've been giving it our post about 3 days. Yeah,
same here.
And that seems to be absolutely fine. With deliveries, so we've still got a couple of deliveries coming in. So, you know, just normal stuff. It's one of us basically has to open it, and then the other one takes the item out, and then if that can be cleaned down, we'll clean it down. But we've got quite anal about it, I think.
Oh, you should have seen me with my shopping the other day. Every item. Every item.
It takes hours, doesn't it?
Oh, do you know how hard it is to, like, decontaminate some, like, bread rolls?
Oh, what,
they just squish. You know what I mean?
You just need to clean the packaging, though.
I'm not. I'm not taking my bread rolls out and just dunking them in some bleach. It's not happening. That's not happening. But, like, because we're doing big shops as well, you know, because I don't want to go out, so I'm buying as much food as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Like, to the point where we're getting really weird looks in supermarkets of, do you really need that much? Like,
there's only really 2 of you. 14 packets of digestive biscuits.
Oh,
yeah, I do.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yeah, like, you know, like the nacho nacho crisps.
Yep.
Like half a trolley for me.
Yeah,
I'm having them. But like you said, it's one of those things you don't know whether you should be ordering stuff, because let's be fair, I don't really want stuff coming into the house that shouldn't be coming into the house. You know, if I don't need it, what's the point in even risking it? But then on the flip side, the people that are delivering it still have a job to do. And if there isn't anything for them to deliver, they're going to be out of a job. So it's that, you know, that kind of teeter-totter of, yes, on one side, I'm helping them out, kind of, in this really weird kind of way. But on the flip side, I don't want to be putting myself at risk.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
It's this really weird, like, ball game that you're playing at the moment. And as is everyone. It's just, like you said, it's a really weird time. Even if you take away the threat of the virus, even if you take that away, the whole, like, you could catch it and die. Just the way society is at the moment, it's crazy. Like, if someone made a movie about this 2 years ago, you'd go see it.
Yeah.
You would.
Well, talking about movies, do you know the highest? I mean, there's a Blockbuster DVD shop still in Australia. It's Australia or America, and the most commonly watched on the Fire Stick and all that is Contagion.
Yeah.
What was the other one? Contagion, 12 Monkeys. You know, all the virus and all the pandemic movies.
Yeah.
They're the most highly watched in the statistics of movies to watch on TV right now.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Everyone's trying to learn that little bit extra and whatnot.
Yeah. But then, again, like we were saying earlier, is that doing more harm than good? Because these are movies.
Yeah, and it's putting paranoia in people.
Oh, yeah, these are movies.
Oh, my God, look at that, you know.
I think paranoia right now is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. I think the more paranoia that's going on, the better.
Yeah.
But it could be paranoia for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And you also have to keep rational as well. So paranoia can go down to the point where you're like, oh, I don't trust anything at all. You know, you can go too far where you're actually causing yourself harm. Where, especially with washing hands, I don't know if you guys have had it yet, where you've started to get really dry hands, where your skin cracks. It's called contact dermatitis.
Mm-hmm.
Contact dermatitis.
It happens a lot with NHS staff. I actually suffer from it. To do with the soap that we've got at work. So I've got special soap at work. And it literally will just start to kind of tear your hands apart, and it's quite painful.
Yeah.
Now,
it's just loads of cracks.
Is there a solution to get your hands back to normal, or is it you just got to deal with it?
It depends on what the cause is, you know. So if it's in my case, it's reaction to a specific types of soap or chemicals within soap.
Right.
So it's more of a reaction with that. So using the different soap works. Other things like moisturizer. Being a real manly man and using moisturizer on your hands, you know. Which, to be fair, the modern man these days does use moisturizer, so it's not actually bad.
No.
So,
I've had a pot of moisturizer in work for years.
Yeah. See?
Years and years and years and years and years.
Yeah. So it's all about being a real man now. Moisturize. But that's the that's kind of thing. But it's little things like that that you can wash your hands too much and cause yourself a bit of harm, and you probably won't realise it.
No.
So so what we're actually doing, we're actually not going to the shop to buy stuff, except for our local store. Our local store is awesome. A local Spar for getting like things like milk, and just cheese and all that kind of stuff that's perishes quite quickly. We're actually getting, and we kind of got on the bandwagon with this quite early. A lot of because when the restaurants closed, a lot of the food suppliers for restaurants, they switched to doing home deliveries. So we actually got on board with one of them.
Oh.
I know, really, really good. So we get like a big vegetable box every week. Well, I say a big one, we actually get the small one. So the big one is absolutely freaking huge. It's got 5 kilos of potatoes in it. We did get that first time, and then it's taken us quite a while to eat through that. But that's what we get. So we get those delivered, but we're doing exactly the same thing where we're washing it. But absolutely brilliant service. They drop it at your door. You have a chat with them from about 5 meters away. And they just make sure everything's there, and then that's it. You're off. So it's but washing things, man. It's you can get quite obsessed about it. I've been washing
eggs.
Washing eggs. Yeah. That's when.
Yeah. Like my mother's always been a bit of a germaphobe. She's a carer and has been for the last 20 years. So you can imagine the stuff that she's seen. But. I've always not washed stuff, but I've always been very, very careful. I'm a very, very hygienically clean person.
Yeah.
When the shopping comes in, I am insane. Not only will I wash the shopping down, the minute I do it in my conservatory where my table is, I will then surgically clean my conservatory. I made the missus put her shoes outside for 3 days. It was sunny. They ain't gonna do anything. They're just sitting outside. I'm probably going a bit too far, but then I'd rather be a little too hygienic than not,
Yeah.
I'd rather take that step for people to be like, what the hell are you doing that for? We've been, 6.5, 7 weeks now, and touch wood, I haven't had it, or I haven't felt like I haven't got it, and the wife hasn't got it either.
This is when you both get tested, and
I know.
And somehow they can backdate it, and they go, get it, 4 months ago.
So, talking about this, swap the subject a little bit. Before Christmas, when was my birthday? My birthday was the 14th. So it was the week after that. I was stupidly ill for 2 weeks. Stupidly ill for 2 weeks. Couldn't get out of bed. I'm asthmatic anyway, but I've never had a chest like that in my life. I mean, to the point where I was living with my ventilator in my hand. I just couldn't move. And the more I think back, it could just be a placebo thing, but the more I think back, the more boxes it ticks. Seriously, even to the point where after about 3 or 4 days, I felt absolutely fine. I was meant to be in London for a work thing, and I woke up in the morning, I had a shower, I was fine, I was sitting on the end of the bed, I'm just gonna go to London, this is absolutely fine, to the point where my wife had to stop me getting up because I was sliding down the side of the wall because I couldn't keep my head up.
Crazy.
It's probably, you know what I mean? You never know, because one, it wasn't around in the country at this point. We didn't think about it. But then I was dealing with people from overseas. So, I know for a fact that I was in a room with 7 people from the Wuhan area. I know I was. So did I have it? Didn't I have it? It's not just me. There was a few people in that room that felt really ill. Really, really ill.
Yeah, it's possible.
So it's possible that it's a weird one, boys. A really, really weird one. Yeah. What did I read the other day? It was on Facebook about everyone has Schrodinger's virus at the moment. Have you seen that?
Is what?
Schrodinger's? However you pronounce his name. The cat in the box thing?
Oh, yeah, Schrodinger.
Schrodinger, that's how you pronounce it. You put a cat in a box, and you don't know whether the cat's alive or dead because it's in the box. Until you open the box, you don't know. Right? So we all have Schrodinger's virus at the moment. We all don't know that we have it, but we also can't be sure that we don't. We're acting like we don't have it, but at the same time, we're all acting like we do have it. It's this really weird kind of ideology that you probably don't have it, but you better act like you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So whilst we're on the subject of this supermarket thing, you know, it's like some companies allow one person in at a time. I think it's compulsory now. It's just one person in every store now, isn't it?
God, I haven't been to the supermarket for a while. I know it was something like that. It was either one in, one out, or it was you can only have a maximum of X amount of people. It depends on the size of the store, I think.
Yeah.
See, I can't understand why a person, say now me and my partner, we go shopping. She don't drive, I do. And we go shopping on a weekday. Why we can't both go in? You know what I mean? Like, we live under the same roof. We went to Aldi's a couple of weeks ago, and we both, you know, wear gloves and, you know, we wear our masks and stuff like that. Very clean. We don't go out anywhere. We don't talk to anybody. Keep ourselves to ourselves. We went to the supermarket and we went to do our weekly grocery shop. And the guy said, only one person. Me now being me. Why? Oh, you know, we got to try and stop this spread of CV-19. I said, yeah, but we live together and we don't go out. No, we got to stop the spread. Yeah, but there's only one person in. There's two of us. Now, I had to go wait in the car.
Yeah.
You know, I can understand if there's like a husband and wife and teenagers and all that going in like a big group. But like a husband and wife, fiancés and all that who live together, why they can't do their grocery shop? They live together, they go in, do the shop, to come out together. See, I don't understand that.
It's got nothing to do with stopping the spread, yeah? Nothing. For one, it's a cap limit. So if they let two people in, that's two people on the cap limit. And secondly, it's all to do with how many people they can get in the shop buying at the same time because these companies still have to make money. They're not going to let two of you in who are going to buy the same amount of groceries as one person when they could let another person in as well.
Yeah, because he said, like, you know, you can go in, but then as soon as you come out, you can go back in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if I wanted to buy four bottles of milk, they would have a problem if I bought 8. Or I can buy 4, go back to the car and go out and get another 4. Right? I don't understand. Now, when I was down there, I had to go back to the car. But this other couple, younger than me, they allowed in. Live together, allowed to go in. They seem to be picking and choosing who to let in and who not to let in. Now, I have an issue with that because I was 100 miles an hour and I was going to say something. I thought, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Just go back to the car. You know, tail between the legs sort of thing. And, they seem to be picking and choosing who to let in. And as he said, it's not about, you know, what it was. It makes no sense, and it seems like to be having rules for some and rules for someone else. And this whole situation, it's got everyone not knowing from one minute to the next. Rules seem to be changing. No one's had a set rules. You see Boris Johnson, he comes out and he says, right, you're doing great, stay home, only go out if you're doing this or doing that to get groceries and necessities. And people are abusing that situation. But it seems to me that there's rules for some and rules for others. And I've pointed out that many times, and I've spotted that many videos on YouTube now where people are in the garden and they're digging and planting their trees and whatnot and doing the garden. And there's, you know, police officers walking the streets and driving past saying, you're not meant to be outside, you've got to be inside. And you're getting this on videotape. People are actually listening to the police and going in. Yet there's other people walking around the streets in groups, and they drive on past. Like, it seems to be picking and choosing, if that makes any sense. It makes no sense to me.
I think the police have got a very difficult job to do at the minute. And I mean really damn difficult. Because exactly that reason. Yeah. If you're in your front garden, shouldn't really matter at all because you're in your front garden. As long as you're not right next to, say, the road. If you're right next to the road, just standing there waiting for people to walk past so you can breathe on them, that might be a bit weird.
Well, yeah, it's
But-
common sense, isn't it?
Yeah, but you know, in the same kind of thing, when I'm going for my walk at lunchtime, if I see somebody on the other side of on the same side of the road, I'll just switch to the other side. You know, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Same would happen if there's somebody in their garden. I'll just switch. With the group thing, they're more likely looking for specific groups of people that look like they don't live in the same household. So specifically, if there's a younger couple, and I'm talking in their teens, you wouldn't expect them to be living in the same household. Because you'd go, oh, it's a boyfriend and girlfriend, that both of them are of the age that live in their parents' house. So you'd probably, the police have got to try and think about that and go, okay, that's the kind of people that shouldn't be together because they're more than likely not in the same household, and that's why we're going to stop and we're going to talk to them and just have a chat. And generally, actually, I think the police have been pretty good. At least down here in the southwest, they've been pretty, good at just educating people and just, going, look, what are you doing? And especially with parks and things like that, just going and seeing people that are having a picnic or whatever, and just going, look, that isn't your daily exercise. I know it's a nice day, but why don't you move that to your back garden instead? Yeah, it's that kind of thing, and they're just chatting rather than imposing fines or hitting them with a stick or something like that. So they've been pretty good. But I think they've got to do this kind of stereotyping, unfortunately, in order to figure out who is more than likely breaking the rules, and then try to actually stop that from happening. And just, especially with those groups, if you get told off by the police, let's be honest, you still take it pretty seriously.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that I think is ingrained in us now. It's just if the police are talking to me, I should probably do what they're saying,
Yeah. I think the best way to look at it is like bouncers in nightclubs. You're not always going to get great bouncers. There's always the idiot who thinks that just because he's got a badge on makes him somewhat special.
Yeah.
But they're only there to kind of help us out as much as we can, whether we like it or not. The fact that he may have...
Officer Doofy is just coming to my head now.
Which is how we're all going to look when we go back to work.
Exactly.
Let's be fair.
Absolutely.
Let's not pretend.
Yeah.
The fact that maybe he turned you away and didn't turn away another couple could be because the person in front of you gave him a hard time and he was like, look at this. Or you don't really know the struggles that he's going through. He's out there standing on a doorway, probably greeting more people than what the people in the shop are doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's if anyone of authority right now had anything to say to me in terms of stop doing that or move away, I'd just do it. It maybe hurt my pride a little bit, like you said, but at the same time, they all got jobs to do. They all don't want to be there. The people in the supermarkets, I can damn tell you, don't want to be there.
Yeah.
No.
You know what I mean? The people on the doors don't want to be there. Let's be fair. We all know someone who works for the NHS or is working in the NHS. You know what I mean? They don't want to be there. Let's be fair. But
I like my job. Admittedly, I'm working from home, but
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
We all love our jobs, and especially like you said. But if you had to be in a hospital right now on a COVID-19 ward, you'd probably rather be anywhere else.
Absolutely.
So no matter who it is or what they say, I'm kind of just nodding my head and carrying on doing it. You know what I mean? It's any help is good help at the moment because none of us know what we're doing. Let's be fair. Let's not pretend. I see all these posts of people saying, "Oh, the government's doing this," and this whole "we should end lockdown next week" kind of thing. And the government don't know what they're doing. They've never had to do this before. Boris Johnson never trained for this. Come on. You know what I mean? I didn't vote him in, let's be fair, but he's doing a damn sight better job than I could.
No, I also didn't vote for Conservatives. I'm not a big fan, but actually I think this current government is doing damn bloody well.
Considering they, like you said, you never trained for it. This is completely off the cuff. This changes day to day.
Now, I think they had a plan. I think they've had a pandemic plan ever since the Spanish flu, really.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they've, that's the reason the NHS was even formed, was actually to better deal with a pandemic.
Yeah.
So, I think they've always had a plan, especially during the Cold War. They would have also upped that plan in case there was a man-made contagion that was released. What are they going to do? So they would have revisited there. They probably would have revisited it again with, even with as recently as like the terrorism type things.
Yeah.
Think about for terrorists, if they got a contagion out that was able to spread in those countries, then that would also work quite well. So I think there's always been a background government plan. However, you can't account for everything. You can only go, well, if it does X, Y, Z, then these are the best practices, and we've got those all noted down with the evidence, the scientific evidence to back those kind of measures up. But until you know things like the R value, you wouldn't be able to actually know when to put those into effect. And figuring out that kind of stuff is just, it's a guess.
Oh yeah, totally. It's not like anyone had any time to kind of prepare for this, is it?
No, exactly.
No. The first couple of cases hit end of December, beginning of January, and now we're in May. It's not even 6 months.
No, it's not. No.
So, like, in all fairness, like we all said, I kind of tip my hat to anyone who's having to make decisions right now.
Mm.
You know, and whether you like him or not, you kind of have to tip your hat to Boris a little bit.
Yep.
Because he's doing a damn better job than I expected him to. Let's be fair.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't think that, when he became PM, his main goal was Brexit. It was to...
Oh, yeah.
It was to get us out of the European Union and to bring us into a new age. That was his kind of absolute goal and his focus, and this kind of hit. So I do feel quite bad for him because I think he'll still achieve his goals.
Oh, yeah.
But, obviously this isn't exactly what he wanted to do as well. So
no, but on the flip side, no matter which way this goes, everyone will remember his name.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
He'll be the Churchill Thatcher.
Yeah.
It'll be Churchill, Thatcher, Boris, no matter how this happens, whether we plunge ourselves into another Stone Age or we come out of it singing and dancing.
Yep.
So it's one of those things, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the UK should bounce back relatively quickly because we're service-based.
Yes.
Almost all of our economy is service-based, so as long as there's customers out there that need financial type help, which they will do, we're going to be okay. And we've just got so many different services that are very service-based or service-orientated that are going to do absolutely fine in this. So I think we're actually, as a country, going to be okay. It's whether we can actually take advantage of that. I think that's going to be the next steps as we come out of this. Can we actually really take advantage of this? There's a lot of, obviously, anti-China kind of feelings at the minute in general. Not so much in the UK from our news kind of outlets, but if you have a look at the Australian news, it's really, really anti-China.
Yeah.
It's majorly anti-China. It's incredible, really. So I don't know if there's going to be changes on there and whether we can, as a kind of country, actually fill part of that void. Obviously, we won't be able to fill the manufacturing void because that is ginormous. But is there other things that we can actually do, especially on technology side of it? So hopefully, I think the plan will be to try and fill those gaps and provide alternatives, and that's where we can actually come out of this really quite strong, and it actually works in our favour with Brexit as well.
100%, because there's going to be countries out there now that will not trade with certain countries, and if we're happy with that, like you said, we may take the forefront of that trade. So you're probably right there. We probably will actually, like you said, if we financially get out of this, see a silver lining.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally for us, it's the perfect time coming out of the EU. And coming out of a pandemic, we might actually be able to fully take advantage and make a lot of money as a country.
100%. Like even in our own personal jobs, I know for a fact that I have my own plan of what I'm going to do in my stores when everything opens back up. It's one of those things, isn't it? Unfortunately, it's terrible, but there is that silver lining that you kind of have to take advantage of.
Yep, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, so, it's not all doom and gloom.
No, it's not. If you're safe and you're in your house, we're sitting here right now, it's a Sunday evening, we're chilling, we're talking over Skype. It's not all doom and gloom.
No.
It's not.
Yeah, internet's still working, that's good.
Exactly. Can you imagine if this happened 20 years ago? Oh my God.
God, yeah, that would, it wouldn't work.
No, Snake would have taken a beating.
It would have, yeah.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Those dial-ups.
Can you imagine?
I love those noises.
Oh, I know.
I miss that. That was part of my childhood, actually, was, my mum shouting at me, "Get out of the damn internet, I want to use the phone."
Yeah.
Brilliant, before broadband. Absolutely
that and the MSN Messenger tone alert.
God, that was genius.
Oh.
That was cutting edge.
I would love to sign into my MSN right now to find out what my username was. I'd love to find out.
I know. It's good, though.
So what do you think life is going to be like now? Say now they find a vaccine and a cure for all of this.
Yeah.
How do you think life is going to be after it all? Like, everyone's had this shot and injection and whatnot, and the economy, work, as you just mentioned, the financial situation with people who got bills and mortgages and stuff like that, because a lot of businesses are going under after they got told, no, we're going to give you all this kind of help, and you don't have to let anyone go in the company. We're not going to fire anybody or make them redundant and stuff. Everyone's going to be able to keep their jobs, but everyone seems to be losing their jobs. What's your thoughts and opinions of life after CV-19? It's like I have no clue.
Unfortunately,
I think you need to put you on the daily calls, man. You need to ask this of the politicians so they can sit there and just try and spiel off on something totally freaking different. And they go,
because like the Churchill days,
Yeah. Unfortunately, go on.
Yeah.
Go on, man.
No, it's like after the war. They must have had some sort of idea, some sort of plan, but it never come into effect. The war's just been ended. Germany surrendered. D-Day, everyone's coming home, celebrations and stuff. But then it has to get back to reality of back to work and rebuilding and stuff like that, and make things stronger, put things into place in case of next time or whatever. What do you think the situation will be with like a pandemic situation, and not like a world war, but a pandemic of fighting the invisible enemy? How do you think we're all going to be afterwards? Are people still going to be that paranoid, still keeping their distance, even though they've had a vaccine shot or whatever? Is everyone going to rush out to like Burger King and McDonald's and movies and start socializing again, where it might actually flick up even worse?
It depends which way you're looking at. If you're talking about it flicking up even worse and there being like a second wave of it, that all depends on when and if they sort lockdown out. That'll be it. In terms of what's going to happen afterwards, honestly, I think you'll see the economy spike. There'll be this huge rise in everything because, like you said, everyone's going to go to Burger King, go to the movies, and go to holidays, and it'll be the thing. Everyone has. The minute this is over, everyone will go on holidays. Everyone, whether you wanted to or not, because they can. And it's that sense of. Do you remember when you were younger and you couldn't smoke, and then you could? You did, right? Because you could, whether you liked it or not. Some people carried on smoking. Some people quit. It's the way it's going to go. We'll see this huge spike in the economy. Everything will be mental, and then this massive dip where that third to a half of people go, actually, we're being a bit crazy right now. And it will give it 18 months, 2 years, and it will be like as if it never happened. Yeah. Everything will just be back to, and we'll all be worried about who's sitting in the prime minister's seat.
Yeah. Yes, that was my thoughts, yeah.
Unfortunately.
From the working from home perspective, what I'm hoping that happens, because a lot of companies have been able to work from home and it's actually been quite successful. With my work, I could have done it anyway, so we were actually all set up. Our entire department has laptops, so we switched from desktops work to laptops to enable not just working from home, but you can then take your laptop to a meeting. It just made a lot more sense, and we just had docking stations. And actually before this, a couple of months before this, we were actually looking at, okay, if we do allow regular working from home, so say 1 day a week, how are we going to make sure that that's going to work, and etc. and so forth. So we actually put in quite a lot of infrastructure pre this, and then when it hit, we were just able to literally just send the entire department home. We were in the best possible position for it. What I'm hoping we do as a country, or not really just a country, as a globe, is take advantage of being able to work from home because of the lessening of emissions. So we can actually reduce our carbon footprint by work from home more frequently. I would not want to work from home permanently. I absolutely hate it. No. But 1 day a week would do quite well, and you can think about the amount of emissions that we actually do from going to work. You reduce a lot of the population, say only half can actually work from home. You do 1 day a week, well, that's still 1/10 of our emissions from travel. That's massive effect on the environment. And as we can see from all the global maps, the shutdown has had a significant effect on the environment. It just shows what we can do if we actually stop. So I'm hoping that we take advantage of that, and companies do look at the remote working, and because we've already got the infrastructure in place, because we've had to shove it in quite quickly for a lot of places. We do take advantage of it from that way. Virtual meetings work perfectly. They actually work better than some big meetings. So we've been having for the entire. So my department's part of other departments, and then we've got a director on top of that. So there's about 120 people, I think it is. We would never have had meetings before, all in one go. Remotely, we can have them no problem. and it works so well because they're presenting to you. You can just see their screen. They're then talking through it. If you've got a question, we put a message in the chat, and then the person that's presenting then says, "Okay, cool." So, and then we turn on that mic. They talk, have a conversation about things, and it works way better than it would work in person. And you don't have to book a room. You don't have to have these gigantic rooms at all. It's great for that kind of stuff. And everybody can have a drink as well or have some food. What I've been doing is we get a weekly update, and I order Chinese for it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm sat there with my weekly meeting, eating a bit of Chinese food, and really chilled out, nice and relaxed. And then most of the time, so with working from home, I'm usually doing different hours than I would normally do as well. So I might actually start half an hour early, finish half an hour late, but I might have an extra half an hour for going for a walk. So I'll go for an hour-long walk. Awesome. Really good for my mental health, especially in this situation. But if I just had half an hour, I can only go really walk around the block, whereas now I can actually go out and have a really nice walk, then come back in, refreshed, work another bigger, solid period of time, and I get more done. So I'm hoping that we start to use these kind of things, especially around flexible working. Again, my department's way up on it anyway. Like, way up on it. We were already doing it. It's just we were even looking at extending it further. So we already did, like, if you want to do 9-day fortnights, let's do it, which is now what I'm working as well. So I've switched from just in April to a 9-day working fortnight. It's awesome. So I just do longer days. It's wicked.
Oh, wow.
So, it's awesome, but hopefully we can take advantage of that so that people can kind of be mentally a lot better. And then work is kind of working around you as well. And there's a lot to say about work helping you. It doesn't have to be this 9 to 5 every day, Monday to Friday type of thing. And we should be able to be flexible in this day and age. So, so hopefully that's one of the things that will happen. I do hope that when we start to restart the economy properly, we do think about the economic impact, not the economic impact, the environmental impact as well. And we actually do look at what can we do better.
Yeah.
Things like that, working from home. But there's going to be other things as well that we can take advantage of. So things that we would have needed to do anyway, and actually let's phase them in, and take a bit of time. I think people will initially be quite afraid to meet up and talk to everybody and all that kind of stuff. I think it will happen, but slowly over time that'll happen. What we're in danger of in the UK is a second wave. This virus is not done.
Totally.
And what I'm very worried about is that we will release lockdown measures.
Yes.
What happened before the lockdown, and this is probably the same for you guys, I don't know if it is, but what happened the night when they announced, everything's going to be locked down, everybody went out for a drink with their mates.
Yes.
And literally mingled. So at the point where we're trying to stop and reduce that curve, Jester, we've lost you. Have we probably lost him? All right. So when everybody went out, and this was just before lockdown. Everybody went out. They went drinking. They went kind of having a bit of a party. Met up with all their friends, literally to say goodbye. Maybe met up with their family. Which was probably the stupidest thing you could do, really, is to go, it's going to be locked down, won't be able to see everyone else, so I won't be able to go and have my JD and cake, won't be able to have Jaeger bomb, can't have Jaeger bombs at home, So they all went out, had a party, and then obviously we then went into the we went into exponential growth, not surprisingly, because everybody had just mingled. So anybody that was asymptomatic then had just passed it on to everyone else. Perfect. So what I think is going to happen when we do come out of lockdown is the exact same thing. We're going to have the exact same thing where people are going to go, now we can go out, let's go, let's meet up again. And you'll have 2 weeks later, and it'll be 2 to 3 weeks later, really, you'll have another second wave. And that will happen regardless of the country that you're in. The good news is that other countries have, or are going first, so we actually have the evidence to kind of back that thing up. Germany's just had it, where Germany's been handling this really well, but Germany's kind of released lockdown a bit, and they had a second wave come up on it, so you can actually see them going up again. We are by far not through this at all. In the current stage, we aren't really anywhere near it. the problem with coronaviruses in general, respiratory things. So coronavirus, the common cold is a coronavirus. So, as we know, you can get the cold like year on year, and that's because partly because there's usually different strains of it that go around. But the other reason is that you're when you actually do develop antibodies to it, that only lasts about a year. So you can actually have the same cold every year for the rest of your life and always catch it that year. Now, because it's in this COVID-19 or nCoV, what's also known as novel corona or SARS version 2 or whatever it's called, is a coronavirus. It could be the exact same, and that's why the antibody testing or antibodies in general, they need to know more information about how long it takes. Problem is, you don't know how long it takes until you've got a really good sample size, and you know when they develop those antibodies in those patients, and also when after that those antibodies are no longer present, and you won't know until like a year after that. And so that's the main problem. But we've got to do something which is mostly for people's mental health, also the economic impact that's going on. There's so many different factors, unfortunately, in this kind of thing where economic shutdown does lead to more deaths because of people that say do lose their job, or they are afraid of going to the hospital. That we're seeing a lot actually at my local hospital. You know, the amount of people that would have normally come in for chest pain has gone down massively, as you would expect, because people were afraid of getting it, whereas they should still go into ED. And I'm pretty sure every ED department in the UK will have a non-COVID positive or non-COVID suspected and COVID suspected areas. So they usually split it on when you're actually getting checked at admission. So people shouldn't be afraid of going to these kind of going to seek medical help if you need it. And that's why they keep on banging on about it, you know, almost every day. I don't think they did in the Daily Call today, but that's the reason they have, is because you will get some deaths from that. The main thing is that the government's got to try and weigh up at what point you've got this curve coming down, and then when you've got these other kind of deaths that might be occurring, or you've also got mental health issues that are starting to occur in the population. Things like you were saying, Z, you know, paranoia. You might also be getting anxiety. Anxiety is a massive one that can really affect your life. It can completely affect your sleep. It can, you know, lead to pretty bad depression as well. So it's all of those kind of things are really things that you want to reduce in the population. So they've got to weigh those two things together, which is this, what we know is going to happen, which is some of the population, I'm not saying everybody's going to go out and go partying, but some of the population will go out partying, end up mingling, and then end up having a second wave because of that. But you've also got to weigh that against how many people are kind of suffering from these other things. So things like the anxiety and depression, and you know, just seeing your parents or your grandparents or, you know, your auntie and your uncle, those kind of like things, so simple little things that will make you feel like it was worth it. And that will have a massive boost to you. But, you know, at the same time, like my grandparents, I won't be seeing them for quite a while, because I know that if I do have it and I am asymptomatic, then I don't want to pass it on to them because they are in the at-risk group. So it's it's a really difficult balance, and I do not want to be in government at this point in time, because or on the scientific advisory kind of group, and that's why it's so difficult. I think what we're currently doing is looking at other countries really closely, and just seeing what happens with those other countries, and okay, what did they need to do? Did they need to do anything different? So the good news is that because it's global, we've got lots of case studies. You know, and it's true. You know, you've got lots of different groups of people. You know, maybe they open schools up first, and then maybe they don't do schools. Maybe they do this part working that was kind of been discussed, which is to have phased workers going in. So you move their times around, or you only have half the staff force, or you have a look at everything. And you know, there's so many different ways that you can do this, and luckily they're being trialled in lots of different countries. So I'm hoping we can have a look at that. And I'm guessing they'll be weighing up the options on that side. Economically this will have an impact, but it's got a global impact, so it's more like a global recession. But most of the time that's kind of where you get your real innovators. So that's where you can really innovate. So let's have a look at, like, for example, we're all YouTubers as well. So some of us have got other day jobs as well. Some of us just do YouTube. You know, it doesn't really matter at all.
Yeah.
That job didn't exist. Say, well, what, 10 years ago? Over 10 years ago? Just didn't exist. And it's kind of popped up. It's now a thing. You've got people on Instagram as well that are now making a living off of that. You've got people that are making a living off just doing Twitter type stuff, Facebook Live. You know, there's always new things coming out, new things that are appearing, new things that can be taken advantage of in this new world. And that's the main thing. You know, innovation kind of happens, and people find niches, and people are a lot more they can come up with just amazing ideas. They can kind of adapt quite quickly. You think about the industrial age, and you know, machines coming in and automating a load of the things that workers were doing manually, and then you know you're thinking, oh, loads of people got laid off. Actually, what happened is the kind of opposite. No, there's always been more work, and actually our unemployment has been going down and down and down and down, at least in this country. Because there's always new jobs being created off of the side of things. So I'm currently looking at a lot of AI and machine learning type things. We're going to be doing that for like the next 20 years, just implementing it, building machine learning models and building AI models. And then that will automate a part of it, and that will save quite a few lives. But then there's going to be the next thing, and there's going to be the next thing. You know, there's always going to be new jobs. So it's one of those that I wouldn't be too afraid of change. I think this will push some form of change, and I think there's a lot of opportunities to be made there.
Yeah, totally agree.
You know, for us, if we want to take advantage of it, the advertising rate is down, so we know that, massively down. But at the same time, we've got there's more audience now than there has ever been. So, you know, you can look at those two things and you can go, actually, wait a minute. So a lot of people will be looking at this going, oh, actually, my advertising's down like 50%. And I can't remember what my stats were. I think mine's down around 30, 40%, something like that. So I could go, oh, well, there's no point in me doing anything like that. But then I could also go, actually, this is the perfect opportunity to get new viewers in, so that when the economies do start kicking up, and because YouTube is global, all it would take is, say, the US opening up quicker, because that's where most of the viewers, for me at least, happens. So if they actually start the economy back up, and then advertising starts going up again, rates go up, and I've already built up the viewer base during this time and made advantage of that, taking the loss, so actually trying to reduce the amount of loss that I'm actually having by getting myself up on that side. Then when that does happen, then I'll see a massive increase in revenue. So that's one thing that I could have a look at. It's not really an option for me at the minute, because my main job's taken over my life, but that's kind of to be expected. In the NHS, it's going to take over your life. You know, it's as simple as that. But you know, there's all these different gaps. You just have to find them.
Yeah, my channel's been boosting. It has. I hit what 9K a few weeks ago. I'm already at 9,100.
Yep.
I mean, it's growing. It's crazy now.
Yeah,
exactly.
But as you said, it's everyone being home, and obviously you've got the internet. Let's watch a video. Let's watch that. Let's play some games.
Yeah.
Let's see what's happening.
Yeah, totally.
Yep, people are more bored than they've ever been.
Yeah.
So you know, the more interesting stuff that you can get out there, the more impact it's going to have on people.
Yeah.
And all it takes is people. And the thing is, you're more likely to now be found because people are just looking for stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like Tiger King, perfect example. Awesome documentary.
Yeah.
And
I haven't seen it yet. I just keep hearing about it.
You're like a month behind now.
Oh, it's so good. There's at least 2 episodes about tigers in it.
Oh yeah,
it's good.
It's seriously one of the best documentaries, because it's not really a documentary. It's just about Joe Exotic. He's completely nuts.
I'm not even entirely sure what it's about, if I'm honest.
No, it's just
I have no idea.
It's
brilliant, though.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. I'm gonna watch it again.
It's a must see. You have to see it. It's so good.
But you know, things like that. It was just at the right time. It literally hit at the exact time that lockdown happened. And then, because it's just so bizarre, everybody was just like, dude, you got to see this. You've got to see this. You got to see, and that spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
So that could happen with any of our channels. Something could go on, and that just gets shared, and it just gets shared, and it gets shared, and it gets shared, and just like coronavirus is exponential, you could get a video that's exponential.
Yeah. So what?
Don't
what?
push down that
what advice would you give? What advice would you give, like washing groceries, washing hands 10 times a day? What advice from both of you would you give to people who are up to this point in the video to do, like to protect themselves better, to apart from stay home and stay indoors and socialize, distance.
Stay home, protect the NHS to save lives. There we go. Said like Matt Hancock, like he's a bit confused.
Like he's confused, because there's been so much information lately.
Yeah. So I mean, with anything that's coming into your house, if it's cardboard, it can probably stay on cardboard for 3 days. Nobody knows exactly. So if you've got 2 people in the house, one of you is the dirty person. So I'm sure that'll be Yuzi.
No. So I'm very Mr. Clean.
All right. So you get one person to open the box and the other person to take that item out of that box, and then you get rid of that cardboard. Still you can still recycle it. It's absolutely fine. It's just you have designated dirty areas. Places where you don't touch stuff. Anything you can clean. If you can't clean it, leave it for 3 days. It's probably going to be good. Generally 3 days, if that's what they're saying. So if you've got oranges or something like that, and you don't want to clean oranges for whatever reason, just leave them for 3 days. They'll be fine. Obviously, so you don't want to leave milk or anything like that for 3 days. It's not going to be milk anymore.
No, what's the good turnaround for like groceries, like for tin goods, say for instance? How many days since it's like tin?
Whatever it says on the date, but with tinned goods anyway, they'll last years past that.
No, honestly. For the actual contagion to be on the tin.
Who knows? It's probably around that 3 days again. So I just clean all my tins. I just honestly fill the sink up with soap and water, and I just basically clean them off. So I just have them soak in there for a while, because that breaks down the fat cells. So as soon as you break down the fat layer of viruses or anything like that, really, it's just anything. Doesn't have to be fat. It doesn't have to be viruses, but breaks down the fat layer. The proteins come off of it. Those proteins then can't stick to it, so that's how it kills it. Because effectively, the way that the virus works is it's got like little sticky bits on the outside of it, and that just sticks onto something. And then from there, it'll be able to make its way into a cell and break down the fat layer. Those sticky bits come off of it. That's pretty much it obliterates it. So that's the idea behind hand washing, and that's why soap has always been one of the best things against any sort of viruses.
This comes to something I just remembered now. Like when this first got mentioned, everyone went out and binge shopped. Everyone went out and rushed out and basically bought the supermarket, right? All the toilet rolls and there's hand wash, the sanitizing. What was everyone doing beforehand? Were they not washing or something? Were they not wiping their ass? What? Why all of a sudden is hand sanitizer and hand wash gone? Like, wasn't anyone washing their hands before or washing themselves?
Well, I've always washed my hands with my own urine and shit in a hole in the garden, so I've been absolutely fine.
Well, yeah, but all of a sudden, like, everything's gone off the shelves. I mean, yeah, right, panic buying and stuff, but hand wash, like shampoos and that, weren't they washing their hair, washing their hands beforehand? I mean...
It's panic. So part of it's psychology. So the toilet paper side of it, one of the reasons that they think that people went for toilet paper, for some reason, they went even more nuts than us.
I know, right? Yeah.
Which is just really bizarre that they really went for it. But what they're thinking is it's a big item.
Yeah.
Also, it doesn't really matter if you aren't able to eat, you might get a bit thinner. So the perception of other people looking at you might actually be a better one. That's the way that our brains work. But if you smelt like poo because you've not got any toilet paper, so you can't wipe your butt, well, that's a different thing, as well as not being able to use soap to wash yourself. So you then become socially unacceptable in the eyes of people. So from a psychology point of view, that's one of the reasons. So it's not just, it's a big item, I have provided, I am man. A man has brought toilet paper to the cave. You know, it's that kind of thing. It's this kind of like primal need, but it's also the socially acceptable side of it of being clean. And that's one of the things, because you think about viruses and you think about germs and bugs and things and muck and all that kind of stuff, and anything that can clean you or make you feel like you can always clean yourself and your family, that makes you feel more safe and secure. So that's one of the reasons. It's more psychological than anything.
Those movies got it all wrong. Those post-apocalyptic movies got it all wrong, like the Book of Eli and stuff like that. Not one of them in The Walking Dead were carrying toilet rolls.
They weren't, but...
They were carrying Lucille bats and weaponry and stuff. Not one of them had toilet roll on a stick or anything like that.
Yeah.
But
got it all wrong.
If you remember Book of Eli, what does he trade in order to get his iPod charged up? One of the things he traded was a KFC lemon little towelette type thing.
Little towelette.
Yep. So to keep you clean, that was one of the most important things. So they did pretty good on that. You know, that's quite good. You know? We'll be trading toilet paper after this. The thing is, I had already stocked up. I had already had like 48 rolls before this even started because it was on offer. It was on offer months ago, and I went, I'm taking advantage of this offer. I'm going to get loads. And my cupboard, I've got quite a big cupboard, so mine was already full, and I just went, I actually don't need any. And I just looked at it and went, yeah, it's fine. Buy some maybe next time I go out. I don't know. And that was like, a month ago.
I'm not going to lie. I stole a lot of mine from work, so...
Yeah, you're going into lockdown anyway, might as well.
There's no one there. I was the last one.
No, we've been pretty good with the grocery shopping. I mean, per week we'd probably spend around about £60 on groceries. All right. When this all started, we increased it by 20, and we went shopping every single week like we usually do. And then all of a sudden, when we look in the freezer, we look in the cupboard, and look in the fridge, we've got loads of stuff. And now my woman, she drinks a lot of coffee, so she goes through a lot of coffee. So we just end up going to get milk coffee. Once a month, we just go and do our meat shopping. Bread once a week, if that. So we're sitting really comfortable, and we're not binge shopping. We're just increasing it by that extra £10 or £20, and we're set, you know. But these people are spending like £400 or £500 on groceries, you know. I mean, they took photographs of garbage men showing the recycle bins of the food scraps, and it's like bags of potatoes, bags of carrots, and stuff that's been thrown out unopened because it's gone out of date. What's the point? You know, there's no point to it. But don't binge shop, people. You know, let's share it around with everyone. There's no point.
No,
it's long. It's going to be a long time. So little grocery shops, little bits here and there. That's all I say. Make sure there's enough for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you could do with is a couple extra tins of things that you'd normally have. So baked beans, for example. So we've got an extra 4 tins of baked beans, because if we can't get anything, that'll do as a meal. Do you know what I mean? If you've got some bread, you've got some bread. I mean, we've got some flour. I already had flour anyway. And if you've got flour, you can make bread. So you can make some like really awesome flatbreads. If you haven't done it before, absolutely phenomenal. You just need some like self-raising flour or plain flour and some water.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as simple as that. And if you've got, so say, get yourself a bag of flour, just one, because that's all you're going to need. And get yourself, whatever else I was saying, something like beans and bread.
Are you talking about things like that? I'm getting really into the stir fry cooking and stuff like that. The rice and the stir fries with the noodles. I'm actually writing a recipe book. I've come out with my own food, and it's hot. I made satay chicken skewers on a bed of egg noodles last night. Oh my God, to die for. So yes, I will be writing a 10-minute cook meal for 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. It's
be all right.
But it's fascinating, you know, with this, since everyone's been locked down, people are finding new skills and learning so many new things. Like my friend in Oz, he's learned 3 languages through some app. And he can speak 3 languages.
It better not be Duolingo. If it's Duolingo, you're not learning the languages.
No, he's learned He's learned Indonesian. He's learned Spanish, and there's another one. But he's speaking fluently. It's fascinating what you can actually learn whilst being secluded in a home.
Absolutely,
It's fascinating.
This is what I'm saying. This is where we need to start innovating and think about those ideas and start getting your mind working. You know?
Yeah.
Because we're not being filled with, oh, I'll go down the pub every week or whatever. Instead, you're sat indoors and you go, God, I can't watch any more TV. So you might go and think about something. It's like this weekend I've written an app to do my tax for YouTube. Because I wanted to improve on a spreadsheet. And that was it. There's, is it going to save me much time? Nah. But I wanted to make an app. So, little simple little things like that. And that's what I've spent my time doing. So, that's probably around 8-hour project. Really simple.
Yeah.
But, little things like that. And they do kind of add up to useful things. Whereas otherwise I'd just be sat there going, another pizza. So just the way it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we've gone over the hour mark. I know we were going to try and keep this to an hour, but it's one of those subjects. So anyway, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this podcast with all of us. If you haven't already subscribed to the two guys here, which is Zyridius and also Jesterwish, make sure to do so. Again, links will be in the description as well as at the end card of the video. If I remember to do it. I'm sure I will. So, it should be pretty good. And also, if you guys have any ideas for future podcasts, topics and things that you want us to discuss and debate and talk crap about, let us know.
Yep.
So, pretty good.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah, totally.
Cheers.
See you guys.
There he is.